Powered by RVB. You are now tuned in.
This is Trill Latino live. We gon' bring it to you real, not here. We all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is Trill Latino live. We gon' bring it to you real, not here. We all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is Trill Latino live. We gon' bring it to you real, not here. We all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is Trill Latino live. We gon' bring it to you real, not here. We all the way live. Big EJ Boy and Daniel not tuned into the best. It's Big E, Daniel Boom and J Boy. Talking about the real McCoy, you know them Texas boys. The airways will never be the same. We tuned in. It's music, news, and entertainment. 10 times 10 is dope. Boy, fresh, we got the streets on lock. If you need to hear it first, then baby, this the spot. Download and kick back and watch them boys speak game. The internet is going nuts, you gon' remember the
This
name.
is Trill Latino live.
We gon' bring it to you.
Latino Live, your boy DJ Big E, man. Big shout out to my boy Bravo for lacing us up with that fire intro. Got the whole team in the building. Got Daniel Boom, got Los, that boy Jamson, J-Boy McCoy in the building. What's going on, man? How's the quarantine been treating y'all in y'all's neck of the woods?
My quarantine has been doing all right. You know.
I've developed alcoholism as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's been crazy, man. It's been crazy seeing everybody out there. Either some people take it to the extreme and other people don't give a damn. They're just walking around without no mask. So it's crazy. See what happens.
I know, man. Same here, man. I've been out and about lately when this thing just popped off, and it's just it's ridiculous, man, how people just taking it for granted, man.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, like Boom says, some people just aren't practicing social distancing. Some are doing good at it. Some are taking it overboard. But I guess you can't be too safe this day and age. It's definitely a different aspect on life. You know, things are going to be different moving forward. You got to break a lot of habits that you had in the past, like shaking hands and, you know,
Tired of people. You do that with shaking hands. I go like this.
Right. Yeah. You always have that interaction, right? You're like,
Yeah.
So we got to go back to the George Lopez head nod.
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's
So like everybody, everybody has different careers, and I noticed Boom be DJing, Los be into the taxes, and Jamson, different career from is J-Boy as well. A lot of people are turning to working from home, are getting used to working from home. What do y'all think about that? About people like actually wanting to work from home now? Is it going to affect a lot of these businesses as far as them going to be open, or they're just going to work from home? Because you can work straight from home in your pajamas. You know what I mean? And
yeah. I think it's a good. It's people always been wanting that opportunity to be able to do that, and this kind of forced a lot of people with no option but to do it. So I think it's a good idea. I know I'm out and about during the day. Some days traffic is way better. So the non-essentials, y'all causing a lot of problems when we're out commuting. But because right now, we everything's rolling, man. But again, it's a good thing. I think change as far as there's a lot of benefits, right? A lot of gas not being used, a lot of pollution not being created, just by people working from home. And there's a lot of people that can do it. And I think, like I said, this is I'm gonna say a good opportunity, but it shows people that can do it from home.
I know I should have followed my mom's footsteps and went into the education part of it, man. These teachers are loving it right now, bro. They're from the house, man. And Los too. Los is doing taxes, right from the house. How many people have you had hit you up about their stimulus check?
Oh, the stimulus checks, man.
Outside, lined up, waiting for their stimulus check from their tax preparer.
Yeah, so we have a lot of clients at various offices. It's a family firm, so you even have people from the other firm, from my sister's firm in South Texas, her clients hitting us up just the first day that stimulus checks even were announced, it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you had various calls, but as far as working from home, I mean, in this business, we've always had that opportunity to work from the house. So
Yeah.
It's really nothing different. The only thing that's different is now I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher, man. So that's hard. It's hard to get your work in and during the day while having your kids here at the house. It's definitely a challenge.
It's crazy. It's good if you're a self-motivator, but if you're someone that likes to sleep till like 1 or 2 o'clock, working from home ain't for you.
Nope.
Yeah, that's true.
I know that's affected me, man, as far as, actually DJing and the entertainment side of it. It's hit us, man. We've had no work for the past, month and a half, 2 months, just basically just laying low and not able to do anything, A lot of DJs have turned to the internet, live Facebook, and a lot of people are getting blocked now, but yeah, it's a big impact, man.
Yeah. That's one thing too. It's
just a rent. That's it. It's not like you own the movie. You used to pay $20 to own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once it's already hit the box office.
We did the same.
What movie was that?
Trolls World Tour.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's in there? Is it Maluma that's in there? That got the song and.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of music in there, man. A lot of music.
Yeah.
And now they're talking about that they're gonna make this. They're probably gonna be doing more releases like this versus doing them in the box office.
Yeah, it's
Universal is speaking of it. Yeah,
they get hit hard too. That.
Oh yeah.
It's a new day, right? Everyone's got to figure out new ways to get their content out, and there's toes that are going to be feet that are going to get stepped on. But I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's got to look out for themselves, kind of.
Yeah, nobody wants to go under.
Yeah, and
definitely, man, times are changing.
Yeah, and I seen I forgot. I think it was in Florida. The beaches opened also. I don't know which beaches. I know some did, some didn't. But there was a guy on the news. I seen him. He's walking around the beach in a Grim Reaper costume. I don't know. Did y'all see it? Did y'all see that?
I haven't seen.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a dude, man. He's draped up, got everything, and he's walking around. He's just walking around, and they actually interview him. Like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I just want people to know that, this is. It kind of sends a reminder to people. It's funny. But in the back of your mind, you're probably like, "Damn, I just seen the Grim Reaper." Like, it's kind of like that.
And I was one of those people when this first popped off, man, early March or whatever. I was one of those persons that was posting memes of funny stuff about the COVID-19, and one of the ones that didn't believe that it was real. I was actually one of those until it actually hit home. It hit right here. Right in our own backyard. As far as being COVID-19 positive, bro, and that was a big hit, man, and I was one of those, man, that didn't believe it, but now I won't step out without my mask, bro, and I'll be interacting with people at the store that don't even have the mask on, bro, and
yeah, seeing that's kind of the scary part, your side of it, and the other person that you might be talking to at the register or at the store, they're like, oh, this is nothing. I don't got a mask. Why? Little do they know, you're actually protecting them by wearing your mask. Like, you definitely is. But it's up to you.
For us.
It's up to it's up to everyone's like self-judgment. So and that's the bad part. But I don't know. It's
Y'all stay tuned. We got Victor Rivers gonna be hitting the studio later from Blood In, Blood Out. Gonna be joining us. Make sure you follow us on Trill Latino Live on YouTube, Facebook, Trill Latino Live. RVB Agency in the building, gonna lace us up on everything that's been going down with the agency, and as far as the Blood In, Blood Out tour that's currently in rotation across the nation. What's up, RVB? What's up, baby?
What's up?
With RVB and everything that's going on right now, I mean, how's the quarantine treating you out there in San Antonio, Texas?
Oh, it's going good. I'm chilling, man. We're still under lockdown, but we got restaurants. Some of the malls opened up. We got the drive-in out here opened up. The zoo opened up too, but it's like a drive zoo. You can drive through it and shit.
Oh, Oh wow.
Yeah, so it gives something to do out here.
RBB agency now featuring the Trill Latino Live podcast, the Blood In Blood Out tour, to all the Latin rap artists that y'all put on in the past years. Give us a little rundown of what RBB agency does in a whole.
Yeah, well, I started back in '99. So I put out a group back in '99. I still got my record label, Thug City Records. I haven't dropped an album since 2011, which was Ice, Frozen Dreams, his solo album, which had Intocable, Tego Calderon, some big names that we deal with in the industry. But a little background is I worked for EMI Capitol Records for about 6 years. So through those years, man, I just networked, met a lot of big timers and just kept grinding, started doing my own thing, looking out for artists. And then I hooked up with, Damien Chapa, Blood In, Blood Out. Last year, we started doing these meet and greets, and man, I didn't know that movie was, we knew it was powerful, but we didn't know it was powerful nationwide, worldwide. It's huge. We hit up from people in Switzerland, Spain, Germany. All over the world. So this movie actually is still blowing up. To this day, 27 years later, it's still blowing up, and that's because a lot of people didn't know about it. It had different names. It was way back in '93, man. How old were we? Like 16, 17, 15? Some of you youngsters, though, were probably weren't even around yet.
I wasn't even born yet.
I wasn't born yet.
I ain't trying to show my age on here.
I remember my parents telling me, don't look. No, I'm bullshitting.
Hey, but what's crazy doing these meet and greets, man, we see kids from 9 to 10 all the way to 70, 80-year-old grandpas and great grandmas and 4 or 5 generations of little Miklos running around and little Magics. It's crazy, man. But what I love about it is that it's a family thing. You can bring your mom, your uncles, your tia, whoever, and they all know about Blood In, Blood Out. So it's pretty powerful, man. We're enjoying the ride.
I remember, I don't know what city we were in, doing a meet and greet, and this family comes in, and older couple and little daughter, probably around, I want to say about 8, 9 years old, and the lady tells Robert or somebody at the door, like, hey, we didn't even know this was going on. We didn't even know Miklo was here. And she brings my daughter's the one that told us about it. The daughter was the biggest fan out of the family.
Yeah.
And
she was probably like 15, 16 or something.
She was young. I think she was younger than that, bro. But yeah, she was a big fan of the movie, man. That that, like you said, 20.
Yeah, y'all ever see that the Instagram video of the 2 girls from India, and they were actually in India that did the scene Blood In, Blood Out?
Boom.
Yeah.
You sent that to me one time. Boom. I was cracking.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think it was last year they actually came into LA and they got to see, all the attractions.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Great. So with the RVB agency, do they just concentrate on artists as far as music? Well, apparently not with the artists now on deck. Do you actually book different artists, different actors, and
Well, now we're kind of joint venturing into signing, all types of Latino, not just actors. We're talking comedians, music artists, producers. We're out there looking at the big picture. You know what I'm saying? So doing these meet and greets, I'm getting to meet a lot of promoters. Record labels, a lot of guys that are looking towards us because they see us doing this movement. Like, man, y'all need an actor. I do music. So right now I'm working with a couple new artists that I'm going to be putting out under RVB agencies. Something, just to keep it going. We do a lot of traveling. So I figure we might as well sign some Latino artists that can't afford to go to LA, that can't afford to go do a show in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm doing is looking for top talented artists that we could put out and build a stage for them. Because a lot of these artists don't know where to go. Whether you're a comedian, an actor, or whatever you do, RVB agencies can lead the way, you know, get you to the place where you need to be. So that's my focus, is just pushing the wave and continuing to expand.
Where do you want the talents you're looking for? Where do you want them to, or where can they reach you at for inquiries or?
They can reach me at the personal. They can get me on RVB agencies on my Facebook page, or you can hit me on the RVB Blood In Blood Out 2 page, and that's the page that we're running all the promotions for Blood In Blood Out. So you can hit me up on there for sure. Right now we're doing a tour, and we got Damian Miklo Chapa. He's gonna start back up in June 3rd. I believe we're in Vegas. So that one looks like it's still going. We're still, waiting. Magic starts up a little earlier because we're starting in Texas. So we start with Magic in, I believe it's Abilene, Texas on the 13th.
You also have Popeye as well, right? Carlos Carrasco.
Yeah, Popeye. We just started working with Popeye. We took him to Lockford, California, and he has his own little following too. It's crazy how each one of these guys have their own following, and he got the following because he had all those funny little quotes in the movie and shit. So he has a little fan base. But right now we're focused more on these meet and greets, because what we're actually trying to do, and it's in the works, is we're gonna do a festival, which we're gonna bring in all the actors. Not just certain ones. The main goal is to have all the actors, but focus it around a Blood In, Blood Out festival where everything's just, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end with all the actors on the stage. And they haven't done one yet with every single one. The last one they did was 2 years ago, and Damon and Benjamin weren't there. So this one we're going to try to have at least the main 5 actors of the movie.
Yeah.
What's the biggest event you've done as being, RVB agency, Thug City Records? Not only meet and greets, but as far as concerts and just being
concerts. I started concerts. I only got into doing concerts in 2008 is when the economy kind of dropped, and I was working for Capitol Records. So I was kind of forced into being a concert promoter for a little bit. I don't like to be called a promoter. That's not what I do. I don't throw concerts, but I did it for a couple years. I started up in South Padre Island with Clayton in 2012. I got them started, and you can see how they're doing till this day. We did the first concerts there, in 12, and they were a great success. So I was there for 3 years doing them big concerts with Mr. Clayton.
I remember Clayton, man. I still, to this day, man, even this year, going out there and getting shut down, man, doing one show out there, everything getting shut down. COVID-19.
Yeah, they throw some big concerts.
Yeah. Hey, well, I appreciate you stopping in, man, stopping by the show. And, of course, make sure you look forward to all the events coming up, as well as the Trill Latino live broadcast, the newest venture of RVB agencies. Also, the tour. Make sure you follow him on your Blood In, Blood Out. What was it, IG? What was it, a Blood In, Blood Out 2?
Yeah, Blood In, Blood Out 2 IG. And don't forget to get this. Yeah. Make sure you order this mixtape right here. DJ Big E right here in the mix. Got all the hot tracks from Blood In, Blood Out movie, man. Y'all make sure you can order it, and you can send it straight to his Cash App. Bam, ready to go.
What else you got available, like for purchase?
For merch.
As far as what?
As far as merchandise.
Oh man, we got. We have a website, and Big E knows the website. We got banners, T-shirts. We got the movies. Just different memorabilia, keychains, and we're fixing to get those, like the Selena cups. We got those coming in, but the Blood In, Blood Out cups as well, and we got the caps coming in. So we'll be having them all on the tour coming up.
That's, okay. I'll say that's also something that people can purchase. To go.
And a lot of people will wait, and they'll purchase it, and then they get it autographed right there in front of them. So.
Veteran film star, activist, best-selling author, athlete, Mr. Victor Rivers, a.k.a. Magic of Blood In, Blood Out, in the studios with us for the Trill Latino Live. You might also know him from The Mask of Zorro, A Million to One, The Air I Breathe, The Hulk, and also the short film right now filming on HBO, Slipping in the Darkness, and also well known for his special appearance on all the TV series, Mr. Victor Rivers. How you doing?
I'm good. What's up, everybody?
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm kind of like locked in for a while, but it's good to see some other faces.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How's the quarantine been treating you so far? You know, being locked down in LA, do they have a strict lockdown now going on?
In California, the other areas have not had the breakout as much as Los Angeles has. So I live in the Santa Monica area, and they've just been like, it's week 6 now going on week 7, and they've just continued to shut everything down to the point now where you cannot get anywhere near the beaches. I mean, I walk everywhere. I see everything, but I can't, like, they even fenced off the entrances to the beach. So, basically right now what I'm doing is I'm doing a lot of, and I think what a lot of people are doing out there is that we're kind of going inward, and we're trying to decide, like, some people are saying, I can't wait to get back to, and my feeling is we're not going back to anything. We need to move forward. We need to move forward.
Right.
Because it's going to be a whole new reality when we get back out there.
Yeah.
And some of it hopefully will be for the better. And I think that what we've seen in this country and how people have helped each other is pretty impressive. And I hope we don't forget that.
Same here in Texas. I know a lot of us here are from the Texas area, and we barely in Dallas opened up this past Friday. And me being out personally, going out to the store and stuff, people are just walking around like you're saying, like, I mean, everything like just reopened, like if nothing happened, basically, packed up into these restaurants, and crazy situation right now, man.
Yeah, I hope people are going to be, that we're going to be diligent. It's like, I can't wait to get out there. I hope that we have some events coming up in Texas in June, maybe even Memorial Day. I'd love to come and spend some time down in Texas. But I also think, let's be smart about it. But I think that we've had 6 weeks of training as to how we're this is our new normal for now. I know eventually we will be able to, to hopefully, hug each other and be a little bit more, not hiding behind masks. Yeah. But I also think that we can be very careful. And Los Angeles, we're still pretty much in lockdown. But I walk around I have my bandana around my neck, but I only put it on when I'm going to go inside somewhere.
Correct.
Because, there are those that are walking around with it all day long, and I'm going, you don't really have to do that unless you're going to be in a close quarter with somebody. So I think we just need to be smart and conscious, and we're going to get through this.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's kind of scary because if you leaving it up to people's own discretion, a lot of people aren't being smart about it, though. They're kind of thinking it's a hoax, and all those people and naysayers and
conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Everybody's definitely not taking the proper precautions for it.
It's out there. It's out there.
Yeah. It's out there, and I think we have to be responsible. And even in the opportunities that we'll have coming up, where I get to come back out and get to see everyone and say hello. There's ways of doing it and still being safe for everyone. And I think that we all kind of need a distraction, and I know I do. So the best thing I know from an acting standpoint, I can tell you right now that I'm pretty sure that there's not going to be a lot of filming going on probably through the end of the year. This is my opportunity to do a little traveling and kind of meet up with the people that have been fans of not only Blood and Blood Out, but also magic. And it's something that that I'm humbled by many of the tributes, whether in tattoos or paintings or whatever they might be, but also the fact that the film has held up over 27 years is the fact that there's so much truth in that movie that it's now 3 generations have seen it and relate to it as if we filmed it yesterday. And it's always funny when if I go to speak to, sometimes I go speak to young men at risk, maybe some gang members or some kids that are in juvenile detention or whatever, and they'll let them know magic's coming. They'll show them a little bit of the film, and then I'll walk in the door, and the first thing out of their mouth is, "Dude, you're so old." The film is 27 years old. So yeah, we're all going to get a little older. But it was a real honor for me to represent and to really kind of go into the culture and understand what was going on, and also what was going on at that particular time period. in our prison systems, with black and brown and white. And I think it's a very important film.
What was the hardest part of playing the part of Magic in the film Blood In, Blood Out? As you being an actor, of turning into Magic for the film?
For me, it was twofold, because I was given the opportunity by Taylor and also by Jimmy Baca, because in the original script, Magic was just there. Magic had like 2 or 3 lines in the entire script. They said, trust us. You need to play this role, and it will expand as we start shooting. So my biggest journey as an actor for that role is that, many of my fans don't know it until they meet me, is, yo soy cubano. I'm Cuban. I was born in Cuba. I'm not Mexican. So I had to embrace, that culture. And I studied about Azteca culture. I did all of those things so that even when with the tattoos, I mean, I helped with the tattoo artist design the tattoos on my body. So Magic was, an authentic character. And then I just embraced the beauty of, we filmed in San Quentin. When they say San Quentin in the movie, we're in San Quentin. And we're not protected or guarded. Everybody around us are the real convicts doing time. So I had the greatest barometer as an actor right behind me. I could shoot a scene and I could turn around and look at my brown brothers, and they would literally, if I had my sunglasses on, they would just look at me and go like this. A little nod that I did the scene right. So that was, for me, was falling into and embracing, a culture that's Latino like mine, but different than mine. And I've never left it. It's a part of me now.
Well, yeah, you did a really good job on that, because I didn't even know that. It's a good fun fact, for sure.
And I'm also, like, when I don't stay in the sun, I'm kind of a weirdo too. So I get pretty white.
You've been quarantining, is what you're saying.
Yeah. No, we got sun. See, now it's sunny, so I won't be getting sun in the next couple of weeks. So.
How long did that movie film? I mean, how long did it take to make that movie? I mean, it's a long movie, so how long did it take to film that movie?
I think from start to finish, I mean, it took, usually in a shoot, a regular shoot, and we're talking with a budget, the film Slipping in the Darkness, we shot in like 4 or 5 days because there was no budget. But with that film, we were in San Quentin for a month, just in San Quentin. So, then you had the scenes, and then we had to come back and do some reshoots. But that film took months from start to finish. And this is something that I wanted to share with you guys. 2 years ago, on the 25th anniversary, they had a big celebration in downtown LA, the Plaza de la Raza downtown, and 3,000 people showed up for the film. They were going to show the film outdoors, and some of the cast was there, and Taylor Hackford, the director, was there. And he was sitting next to me when we were signing autographs, and he had no idea. I mean, he knew that the film had a following, but he had no idea. Wow. And he said to me, he goes, I've got like 2.5 hours more film. Do you think people would like me to, put it out? And I go, yeah. I mean, it's like, I was actually signed for Blood In, Blood Out 1 and 2. It was a 2-part journey for myself, for Miklo, and I think for, Cruz, Paco. There was going to be a second part. And the truth is a lot of people don't know this, but Hollywood Pictures, at the beginning of the film, you see Hollywood Pictures. And that's the studio that we did. And I actually did 3 films for Hollywood Pictures. And I was, the president actually wrote me a letter and said, you're in the most films in Hollywood picture history, which we did. I did Distinguished Gentleman, One Good Cop, and Blood In, Blood Out for them. Hollywood Pictures is an arm of Disney. A lot of people don't know that. So when we turned in, Blood Out, they flipped out and freaked out. And that's why they made it. They pulled the film. They made us change the title to Bound by Honor, and then
I wondered about that.
Yeah, they put it in the theaters for like 10 days and then pulled it again. Yeah. And so the whole life of this film has been, word of mouth, VHS, DVD, and so it never really had a shot in the theaters. Oh yeah. And the wrong studio had it. So, but anyway.
How did the prisoners react to y'all being in there with all the lighting, the cameras, and actors coming into their prison? Just the cameras shooting on them, and them they're exposed to the world,
Yeah, so I would say first and foremost, the only way that we were allowed to film in there is that we had to follow their rules, and that I'm not talking about the prison rules by the warden. We had to follow the rules because the reality is that San Quentin was actually built for 2,500 inmates. When we were shooting in 91, 92, there was 5,500 inmates in San Quentin. So everybody was on top of each other. So what we had to do was we had to show them the respect that they deserved for us to be in there. On the other hand, for them, we were the circus that came to town. I mean, the reality was we changed their everyday environment into like, okay, you're going to be in this scene and we're going to do this, and there's going to be a riot scene later and we're going to do that. And so there was a part of it where they also enjoyed, they got to eat better, the ones that were actually filming with us, because you could see, you saw each group, the Black Gorilla family had their actors, their inmate actors, just like the Aryan Brotherhood with Billy Bob Thornton. And so everybody had their own little group. And so they got some extra stuff that they normally would not have gotten. So I think that it was a mutual thing of respect. And I can tell you there were moments while we were in there filming where we had the head of, the Mexican Mafia or Nuestra Familia, they would kind of like warn us and they say, if something goes down today, get behind us. So they were letting us know that there was some friction. And it could. And so we were not protected or guarded. We didn't have like big vests on said actor. We were dressed exactly like all the inmates. And so you couldn't really distinguish us from, if something was going on in the yard, you wouldn't be able to distinguish us from anybody else. So the biggest rule they gave us was they said, do not run. Don't horse around, like, pull out a Frisbee and start running after a Frisbee because, you might get shot. So, but that's,
so you're literally in the pinta for a month.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah. The only thing we didn't sleep there. The only thing we didn't do was we didn't sleep, but we were there anywhere from 10 to 16 hours a day, every day. So,
definitely an experience. I could only imagine.
Wow.
I think for everybody, not only the actors that were in San Quentin, but I know that Taylor Hacker, the director, before they started shooting, he had Miklo, he had Damien and Jesse Borrego and Benjamin Bratt. He moved them into an apartment in East LA into Boyle Heights and made them live there for like a month. So they could get used to being in, and not with like bodyguards and security, just like we have to live here. And so they got a taste of the real Bahia,
Wow.
Oh,
That's pretty.
I was wondering how y'all get into that acting, mood like that.
Yep.
You have to really go to the hood, live there, and go to the store and walk in there and see their lingo, whatever how it is.
I've heard that before too. I think me and Bob, RBB, were talking about that one time about actually, like you just said, put them in the setting in the hood of East Los Angeles, to live there, in the population, in the hood, like.
Yeah, it changes your perspective, and it's the same with those of us that went into San Quentin. There were two of us in part of La Onda that actually had done prison time, and one of course is Danny Trejo,
right?
But also Jimmy Baca, who wrote Santiago Baca, who's the award-winning poet who wrote Blood In, Blood Out, and the warden in the film is the real warden. And the reason we were let inside to film there is that he read the script and he said, "Who wrote this? This guy knows what he's talking about." Yeah. And Jimmy did his time in New Mexico in solitary confinement, and he couldn't read or write. And he taught himself to read and to write. And so Jimmy had trouble being back inside because it was a different thing, a time for him. Danny was, he was fine. He was like, he walked out and people knew who he was. And so, it was okay for Danny. But Jimmy struggled.
I'm home.
Yeah. I got my stuff already.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Just the part where you said, so you were saying that a lot of the inmates were actual inmates, but had like acting backgrounds or something before? Or?
No. We just called them, they were fellow actors. No, they didn't have any acting backgrounds. They just, they were the real deal. So we were using them. I mean, I literally, Magic, here's the deal. When we had, because you have to sort of feel the scene. So every day when we would come to San Quentin, we all had to come in together. Even if you weren't filming till the afternoon, we had to all come in together. We all had to leave together because of security. Yeah. The makeup trailer was in the middle of the prison yard where all the weights are and all the, but we have the makeup trailer in there. That's where the tattoos are going on. In the makeup trailer is all the actors, including Billy Bob Thornton, Delroy Lindo, who played Bonafide, us. We're getting our tattoos, we're getting whatever makeup. The minute that we step out of the trailer, we cannot talk to each other for the rest of the day. That's how much tension there are between the groups. So Billy would go to the Aryan Brotherhood. Delroy would go to the Black Gorilla family, and we would go to, and we were kind of mixed in with Nuestra Familia and Emmett, and we would go in with them. So, but they were, I stayed in character all day. I was Magic all day long. No one knew my real name. I walked out of the trailer. I was locked in, and so I was the warlord. I was the guy you didn't want to mess with.
That's probably they helped you get through it.
Yeah, and it protected me. And I was, because I'm physically a big man. And I was bigger for Magic. I put on weight for Magic. I was as imposing as the inmate. So and I also have a background. I grew up in violence in my home. That's part of my book. And I ran away from home at 15. I joined a street gang. And the only difference in my era, and this is in Miami, but the only difference in my era and today's era is that we didn't have guns. So it wasn't fatal. Yeah. But I was also a very good athlete. And so fortunately for me, my athletics put me on a different path. And I also had a high school that changed my life. I went from being a violent member of a street gang my sophomore year, the president of the school, and I lived with 7 families throughout high school. And I went from being this gang member to a good citizen in the school, because I was given a helping hand along the way. And then athletics not only gave me a healthy outlet for my rage, because I played football, so I had this place to kind of vent, but it gave me an education. I was able to go to college and get a scholarship, and get a degree. So that's part of my journey. And unfortunately for a lot of our youth, we keep pulling all the budgets from those programs, whether it's music, arts, dance, athletics, in our neighborhoods, especially in the lower income neighborhoods. And these kids like me don't have that option. So I was fortunate. So when I walked around San Quentin as Magic, that could have been me. Yeah. Because I was that angry kid. And I did all my growing early. So at 15, I was 6'2" and over 200 pounds. And I was a really angry young man. Yeah. So I could have been Magic.
For sure.
Growing up in Miami?
I grew up, actually, I was born in Cuba. I lived in Chicago for a while. Then I lived in Los Angeles, and then my dad kidnapped us from Los Angeles and took us to Miami. And so I started high school in Miami. So I kind of lived everywhere, and I had a really thick accent because I only spoke Spanish when I first started school until I was about 9 or 10. But because I came here so early, I lost whatever discernible accent that. So usually when I play characters, and especially I play Latino characters, I have an accent. And then people meet me and they go, well, where's your accent? And I go, well, I'm acting.
I'm an actor,
Yeah. The Latino culture is different everywhere you move to in it, though. Like you said, you've been to Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami. Yeah. They're all different.
It's all different. It's all different. Miami has a different rhythm and a different beat. But I can tell you that when we premiered, one of the series that we premiered, Blood and Blood Out, was Miami. And I went with they invited me to come with the 3 other guys. And when Taylor was there, and we did a screening, and the audience loved the film. And then Taylor asked them, we did a Q&A after, and Taylor Hackford, the director, asked them, he said, would you support this film? And many of the Cubans in the audience said, no, because, it's not our story. And then I raised my hand. I go, wait a minute, it is our story, because I grew up in this environment and in this violence and I had a gang life, but there's a lot of Cubans who don't think it exists. And yet there are real heavy gangs in Miami, and they existed back in the 70s as they do today. So
you're a victim of domestic violence, right? Growing up as a kid?
Yeah. I mean, I witnessed domestic violence, my father against my mother. And then I was a victim of child abuse on the level of torture. So, and it's in my book, so I'm not saying anything that's nobody hasn't heard me speak about, but I mean, as a child, I was beaten, I was tied up, I was locked in closets, I was hammered, I was burned.
I'm curious, have you seen Gabriel Fernandez series on Netflix?
No, and I think did it just come out?
It's
About a
fairly
month.
new. It's fairly new.
Yeah, about a month or two.
Yeah, about a
Yeah,
month.
no, I
Now.
haven't seen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one to see. It's disturbing.
But you've
Very
heard of
disturbing.
Yeah. So that's kind of my life, and you know, like if you remember the film Blindside, you know, with the football player, and there was a film called Precious. You know, my story is a little bit of Precious meets Blindside because, you know, I was the athlete who was let into home.
With that being said, you were actually the first Cuban to actually be led on to try out for an NFL team, right? The Miami Dolphins.
I was the first Cuban for the Miami Dolphins. So in South Florida, I was a free agent draft pick. So I was this lowly free agent, but I got to the, you know, the training camp, and there was the whole media waiting for me. I had to like turn around and go, you know, because I was this lowly free agent, but I was the first Cuban American, and it was a big deal, obviously, in South Florida. And you know, when I tell people what I played now, I mean, I was an offensive guard. So in the 70s, the offensive guards were 6'2", like 260 pounds, which is what I was. In today's world, the offensive guards are 6'6", 320 pounds, and they're not fat. They brought me in one preseason. I played in several preseason games. I got released, and then they asked me back for a second preseason. And then my second season, I was the last player cut. So, but they only had a 45-man roster back when I played. Today's roster, I think, is 53.
Yeah.
So, but I was just, you know, I never expected to be drafted, and I was really proud to represent, and it's part of my journey.
You're also an activist for battered women. You travel around the world actually speaking. How's that going, or how'd you get about doing that?
Well, I'll tell you that it started about 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, and it was really that once I became a father, I only have one child because I started late, and he's now 26. But once I became a father, that's when I really realized that I never had a woman in my life, but I'd never had my own child. Right. And I didn't know if that monster, I'm the spitting image of my father. I'm the only one that looks like him. So I often wondered, did that monster live inside of me? So once I became a father and I realized that the cycle of violence had really been broken in my life, I felt like I had to pay it forward to all those individuals in my lifetime that were, I call them my angels, who kind of showed up at the right time. And so I felt like I needed to give back. And so I became the spokesperson. It's the national organization that's called the National Network to End Domestic Violence. And basically all the state coalitions fall under our umbrella. I was their first spokesperson, but I was a man. Yeah. And which was, you know, everyone always misconceives domestic violence as strictly a woman's issue. Yeah. But the reality is that it impacts all of our communities. When you look at the shooters, that, you know, that these mass shooters that go on and shoot in the campuses and whatever, many times when you run the tape back on their life, you'll see that they had family violence in their background, because violence is a learned behavior. We're not born bad or violent. Right. And Robert knows the story, but a lot of people don't know that my niece, my sister's daughter, was one of the students that got shot at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. She was shot 4 times, and she survived. And this was a student that she knew who had this, you know, horrific past, but had access to 10 guns. So it is part of, if we want to create a more peaceful world, I think we have to stop violence where it begins, and that's usually in our homes. So it's a good place for us to start.
How do you feel about how they're saying that in quarantine, people being in quarantine, domestic violence has risen, and child abuse has risen, and alcoholism, you know, all that stuff. I mean, and it's sad that they're kind of forced to stay in their house and put up with this. This is the only thing that's bad about it. Like, all that stuff is.
Yeah. No, it's, and of course, I mean, you know, of course, we also talk to people dealing with mental health issues that really have been, you know, exacerbated because we've been in quarantine. So people that maybe were kind of calm are not so calm. But yes, domestic violence, child abuse the numbers have gone through the roof, and it's really hard to access any of the facilities because everybody's in lockdown.
And it's sad because they can't go to school and cry about it, or they can't go, you know, there's nobody that can see them. You know?
Yeah, and school for me was, you know, those were the 8 hours during the day that I could escape it. So, So yeah, I totally understand, and I don't know what the answer is other than we have to keep addressing this issue. So
yeah, definitely a hard thing to do with, our situation, and just there's really no fix to it. We try to fix one, but then it adds to the other side, and we're just like back and forth with it.
yeah, absolutely. So, but I guess I know that we're starting to come out of it. I know you guys are in Texas. They're starting to come out. Other states are slowly coming out. So it won't be, it'll be, like I say, a new normal. But I think that we're going to start to ease some of that pressure by just, being able to travel about and feeling like we have some of our freedoms back. Because I think, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but I mean, we all feel like we've had certain freedoms taken away from us, and we've followed what what they're asking us to do. But at the same token, I think we're ready to get back, and safely, but to get back to at least some semblance of life.
Who would have thought that we'll be going through this right now? I mean, it's something you don't see on TV and in the news.
Yeah.
With that being said, I mean, you're the best-selling author for your book. I was going to talk about the Private Family Matter book. So now, with that being said, where can we pick up the book?
The book has been out since 2005 in hardcover, and then it came out in paperback in 2006, and then it came out also in Spanish as Asunto de Familia. And so if you want to get the book now, basically you would I would say you could order it through your bookstore, but probably Amazon is the easiest way to do it. And I plan to, when I start going back out, is to bring some books with me. So in case any of the folks that I meet along the way, if they want to get a copy, we'll have some there too. But it's, again, you can do it through Amazon as one source. And I think they might be, until they get back to publishing again, because once I get back on the road, I have to get my publishers to print up some new books because I've sold all the ones that I have. So I have to just print some, but they can print them pretty quickly. So.
Are you a football fan? I know you play football, but do you have a certain team that you go for?
Well, I grew up, when I was in, the hilarious thing is when I was in Miami, when I was a senior in high school, the Miami Dolphins, that's the year they went 17-0. They're the only undefeated team in NFL history. So I was a big Dolphin fan, but they've disappointed me ever since then, even though I got to play with them a little bit, which was kind of fun. And the people were still there. Don Shula was still the coach. Bob Greasy was still the quarterback. Larry Zonka, I looked like Larry Zonka. So I would come out of the locker room and fans would attack me for his autograph. He was the Hall of Fame fullback for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But the team that I played for in college is the team that I followed. And so I played for Florida State, the Florida State University Seminoles. And so that's the team that and there's a little history of Texas because for a while, the University of Texas, the head coach was Mac Brown.
Oh, yeah, Mac Brown. Yeah.
Mac Brown went to Florida State. So he was a senior when I was a freshman. So I knew Mac, when as I was coming in as a 17-year-old, Mac was on his way out, and then he continued his coaching career and obviously ended up at Texas and other schools. Yeah. But Florida State is the team that I follow. They usually do pretty well, but the last few years they haven't been like this.
Jimbo left. That's why the coach Jimbo left and came to Texas A&M. Yeah, he's at Texas A&M now. So
yeah, so I played on Coach Bobby Bowden's first team. So Jimbo took over for Bobby Bowden. I actually played on Bobby Bowden's very first team at Florida State. So that's how far. That tells you how old I am. So, it was a while back, but yeah.
What are you more recognized for? Like stepping out in LA, in Santa Barbara, like just walking out, having something to eat, having a drink with your family, and do people recognize you for the hardest part of that, of going out into the public?
I would just say that absolutely, the number one thing that people recognize me for is Blood In, Blood Out. There are those that I have people come up to me and say, "Oh, I loved you in A Million to One," which was like this tiny little film that Paul Rodriguez.
We're talking about that right now. Yeah. I was looking up the movies that you have came out in, and
right,
it was a shock you in A Million to One. I didn't even know until probably like a day ago that you were actually in A Million to One. So I pretty much put A Million to One on. I'm watching the film, watching the movie, and I didn't recognize you to the end. to the end
Right.
when you're coming out.
I'm clean shaven. I'm clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it changes my look. But I will say
but everybody knows that character. Everybody definitely remembers the character. You know, the produce man, the boss.
Yeah. Hector Delgado and it was drive-by produce.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing is Latino fans, Latino fans, they know their actors. So they, you know, like for instance, I played in Mask of Zorro. I actually played Joaquin Murrieta, who is a real character in real life. He was this famous California outlaw, and so that's who I played. And he actually lost his head. Like I lose my head in Mask of Zorro. Yeah. Joaquin Murrieta did too. So Latino fans know their actors, and so that it's a tribute. It's usually when I go out to restaurants, it's the help that recognizes me like immediately. Yeah. Because you know they're the ones that love those films, and or they'll have a tattoo or whatever, and so it's pretty humbling.
That being said about the tattoos, you know how Hollywood Blood In Blood Out was. You know, I remember one fan we were doing these meet and greets for the Blood In Blood Out tour with RVB. I heard one of the fans ask you, "Hey, where are your tattoos?" You really have no tattoos.
I have no tattoos. So that's interesting because had I been an athlete in a different era, I would probably have lots of tattoos. So when we were shooting Blood In Blood Out, the real tattoo artists were the ones doing our tattoos. They had their tattoo guns at the hotel. So there was a few nights where we'd had a few beers and they were trying to talk me into one. And it was just on my era. But it's such a part of our culture, not only Latino culture, but just a part of pop culture is you know, the work. And I've seen so many different versions of magic on people's bodies that is always, the first couple of times it was a little shocking, but now I realize that it's you know, people that have connected with this film and have connected with the character. Mm-hmm. And so that brings me humility, but also a lot of joy.
What's the weirdest someone's put your tattoo on them as far as like women? I know women probably tattoo up everywhere. You know,
you know what? I don't know about. I don't know. I mean, I've seen it on thighs. I've seen it on calves. I've seen it on a rib cage. Oh, I know. And this, I saw it on the back of a guy's head. Wow. You know, where he part of it was his hair. Like, you know, the barber can. I didn't realize barbers can do like razor cuts now.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
So yeah, there's a magic mic on the back of some guy's head. So I'm like, okay. But women, I don't know. I
think RVB Robert has a gallery of women. I keep seeing them everywhere, man. When Bob, that's the first time I see him when Bob posts them up.
There was a story in Dallas that really touched me. And I don't know their name, so I won't be sharing anything. But there was a woman who came in with a giant portrait of magic, like a painting. Somebody had done a painting, but this was from like years and years ago. And this was at a time when she was slinging a lot of dope. And so she was, and the way she got the portrait was somebody had come over because he needed some drugs, and he didn't have any money, but he had the portrait of magic. And she was this big fan, and so she took the picture. She took the portrait, and about a year later, she met her wife, and has been sober ever since. So she came to the signing in Dallas with the portrait so that I could sign it. Wow! And so there was this personal story of this journey of this woman that had taken like the portrait for drugs. And yet it had this positive impact later in life. I think that was she came in crying. When she walked through the door, she was already crying before I even said hello. And so I think that there is a real powerful. I've seen it because I've been around Jesse Borrego, and Jesse's character has his he has his following, and as does Damien does basically those, but to see it firsthand, to see how fans really interact with the actors and with the film, almost 30 years later, is still It's just a tribute to the filmmaking and to the writing and to the actors that poured their hearts and souls into these characters. And I'm sure, each of us has. I mean, I carry Magic with me every day. He's there. He's in there.
If you could play another part, another character, would you pick another character, or would Magic be the character that you chose from Blood In, Blood Out to play? Would there be somebody else that you could relate to?
You mean in the film or in life or another like in another film?
Well, in the film Blood In, Blood Out, that character Magic, does that fit you the most? Is there another character you would have liked to play?
When I can tell this story because it's part of the history. But originally, I was offered to role Carlos. That was so they offered me the role, and then they called me in like 3 days later, and they sat me down, and Carlos was written out in the script. He had more to do, and that's when they sat me down and they said, "There's this other character we want you to play." And so Carlos was the role, but I think that I played the right character. I think that there was a part of, I've always been a soldier. In my house, I was the one that would stand up to my father. When I was in my high school, you would expect me to be the bully because I was this angry young kid, but I was actually the reverse bully. I was a kid that you better not mess with the little guys because I would be there to protect you. And because I saw enough abuse. And I think Magic was sort of, he had to follow, in this sort of violent culture, he had his own sort of code. And so I think that I played the right guy. I at least I feel that. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be at Medo. I played Magic. I'm happy I did.
That was a good role. And like you said, a lot of people are take it to heart. They know the Latino actors because when we were growing up, there was very few of them. Like we didn't have any Latino actors, but the very few. So speaking on that, how did you get in the acting game, and what was the first role that you played?
Okay, so this is a great story. So the last family that I lived with in Miami in high school was another Cuban family, and their last name was Echevarria, which a lot of people can't say. Their son became an actor, and I'll tell you what his name is. His name is Stephen Bauer. So if you saw the movie Scarface,
yes,
he plays Manny. He's Pacino's sidekick in the whole film. Yeah. So Stephen Bauer, played Manolo in Scarface and done Breaking Bad and done. So he had come out to Hollywood already and started acting. And I got cut by the Dolphins. And my degree is in criminology, so I was going to become a cop. But Stephen knew that I wanted to try acting, and so he said, "Hey, before you become a cop, why don't you come out to LA? I got an extra room in my apartment." And so basically I said, "What do I do? I have no training." And he said, "Get yourself cast in a play, like in a theater piece, a drama." And so I got in a play, and the head of MGM casting came to see the lead in our play, and I didn't say a word in the whole play, but I never left the stage. For 2.5 hours, I was on stage the whole time. And after the show was over, the guy walked up to me and he said, "I know you didn't speak," he said, "but you have a pretty powerful presence. Do you have an agent?" And I said, "No, I don't." And so he gave me his card and he said, "Call me on Monday." And he gave me my very first role. And in order to get into the Screen Actors Guild, our union, you have to have somebody kind of give you a job. And you have to say something on camera that the camera sees. And that's how you get into the union. So my very first job, I was a drug dealer in a street scene in downtown Los Angeles. And as the main actor walked by, I leaned forward, and my drug that I was selling was speed. So I literally just leaned forward and went, "Speed." That was my first job, and that's how I got into the union. And then the acting bug bit. And of course I wanted to be an actor, and I had to train and study. But I did every kind of job, including Andy Garcia. Now, Andy Garcia. Andy Garcia and I we were movers. We moved people. I mean, I did every kind of job. I was a bartender, bouncer. I did copper roofing. I did anything I could. And it wasn't until I got to my 30s when I started to work, like where I literally became a working actor. So I had to pay my dues like every other actor does. And currently my son wants to be an actor. And I'm like, okay, but this is not the best time to become an actor because there may not be any work for a while, but that's what he wants to do, and I'll support him for it. He graduated from Harvard. I'm going, okay, acting at Harvard, but
so does all that stop? Basically, like Hollywood just shuts down pandemic going on in LA and Hollywood in that area, so everything's shut down. There's no filming.
Everything is shut down. As a matter of fact, the guys, somebody mentioned that they had seen the film Slipping in the Darkness, which won the Latino Film Festival, and that's why they're on HBO. So those two young filmmakers that are the director and the writer of the film, they have my script. So I wrote a script based on my story of a private family matter. And so we're working together with another producer, director, cinematographer to create, to make my story into a film. And so, we're still working. We're going to actually meet tomorrow and, on Zoom and have a meeting, but we don't know what's going to happen. As we come out of this, then we're going to try to shop the film to HBO Latino to see if they pick it up. So we're creating our own content. And the thing that I would say to all the fans that are watch this is we have to support each other's work. And that, when I say that, I mean, if it's a movie about Cesar Chavez, I don't care if you're Puerto Rican or you're Cuban, you got to go see the film. Because if we don't put butts in the seats, we're not going to have a box office that shows that Latinos can bring box office, and yet everything is marketed to Latinos because in the sales market we are the strongest force out there. So let's do the same in theater, in our movie theaters, and on television. Is let's support each other's work, especially Latinos, so we can tell many stories.
Aren't you on Modern Family?
Yeah, I did Modern Family. I did this was the last season of Modern Family, and I did episode 3 of this last season, season 11.
Yeah,
so and I play the gardener, and his name is Vic, which is my nickname. Everybody, by growing up, I was always Vic. So and it was a really funny, like a really personal show, and I got to actually Rico Rodriguez, who's from Texas. Actually, he's a big fan of Blood and Blood Out. So I was going to come down and do his. He's part of a car show that's been around for a long time that his dad started, and so we're probably going to just reschedule that. But Rico is actually from Texas too.
I know we got the Blood In, Blood Out tour coming up. That's in full effect, powered by RVB Agency. A lot of these tour dates, I know June 13th is on log, June 14th, 15th, Abilene, San Angelo, and Midland, Odessa. Let the fans know what they can look forward to and meeting you at these meet and greets.
Well, I think one is that I'm really looking forward to meeting the fans, and I know it might be under a little bit different circumstances, but I still think that we can really have a good time, and if there's something they would like sign, we can get pictures, and they can also just tell me their own personal journeys with the film, because I think it's really important. It's the first time I'm really kind of coming out to do these, and so I'm really excited, and I think a great place to start, of course, is Texas, which has a huge fan base.
That's one thing for sure that I noticed, from being in the meet and greets, right in the front line with you, and I noticed, you sit there and talk to them one-on-one. A lot of people think the meet and greet, I'm just going to take a picture, but you basically.
No, I'm there. I really do want to meet them. I also want to know a little bit about themselves. And sometimes I find out that my story is their story too. We'll start to take their
keep a 6-foot distance, huh?
Yeah, and so we will be, but we can be careful. We've already got like masks. We can make some fun masks. I was thinking that might be hilarious if we had like a mask, a magic mask. We're from here down, but we can do this, and I think that we all need to come together, and I think we all need a little bit of a distraction.
They're coming.
Yes, definitely.
So
where can we follow you? Where can the fans follow you on Facebook, IG, Twitter?
On Facebook, it's Victor Rivas Rivers, and my website is victorrivasrivers.com, and on Instagram, Rivas Rivers V. Pretty sure Rivas Rivers V on Instagram, and Twitter. I have it, but I don't really use it. I don't know how to use it. Probably use it. but Instagram's a great place, and also Facebook's a great place to sort of follow me, because whatever I post on Instagram, I try to post on Facebook too.
Appreciate you stopping in, giving us your time, and make sure to follow Victor Rivers on all your social platforms, and we'll see you at the meet and greets, man. I appreciate you stopping by.
You bet, man. Hey, peace, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
One more thing, Victor. We got to hear the famous Get the fuck out of here before I make you my bitch. One time.
So you're the
Right.
sucker that doesn't spider. You're the sucker that doesn't spider. The rep is what you're looking for, and I'm the man you want.
Powered by RVB. You are now tuned in.
This is Trill Latino live. We gon' bring it to you real, not hell, we all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is Trill Latino live. We gon' bring it to you real, not hell, we all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is Trill Latino live. We gon' bring it to you real, not hell, we all the way live. Ain't nobody gonna tell it. This is Trill Latino live. We gon' bring it to you real, not hell, we all the way live. Big EJ boy and you not tuned into the best. It's Big E, Daniel Boom and J boy. Talking about the real McCoy, you know them Texas boys. The airways will never be the same. We tuned in. It's music, news, and entertainment. 10 times 10 is dope. Boy, fresh, we got the streets on lock. If you need to hear it first, then baby, this the spot. Download and kick back and watch them boys speak game. The internet is going nuts, you gon' remember the name. This is Trill Latino